What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we've got a super exciting guest on the line, Mike Demarais, co-founder of Rainbow, good friend of the channel. Mike, welcome back to the show. Great to have you on.
What is up, Gally? Hello, Hyperchange. I've missed all of you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so for those
Thanks
who
for
don't,
having me.
yeah, of course, dude. And I know you're super busy these days. Rainbow's blowing up. You're one of the hottest kids in the crypto block, you know. So we appreciate the time. And for those who don't know Rainbow, though, I want to give the elevator pitch because I think it's one of my favorite companies, app startups. The first time you told me about it, it was Robinhood meets Snapchat but for Ethereum, this UI layer for the Ethereum network, which I think is so crucial. The blockchain's just like all these numbers, super confusing, like making that layer that makes it accessible, fun, and just interactable and social is kind of what Rainbow's building, the UI for Ethereum. I think it's so exciting. I'm a huge investor in Rainbow. It's one of my biggest positions besides Tesla, SpaceX, ETH, Bitcoin. May even be bigger than some of those. But I'm just all in on this. I'm totally biased. I've been a Rainbow user for years, obviously an NFT nerd. But yeah, I just think it's been crazy to see it blow up. Maybe you could give us, that was my take on Rainbow. Maybe you could give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, so Rainbow is an Ethereum wallet currently available for iOS, very soon to be available for Android. Like, actually, guys, it's coming. But what Rainbow is, it's trying to be a hyper accessible Ethereum wallet that is, lets you do all of the things in Ethereum. So it has Wallet Connect built in, which lets you use dApps in whatever web browser you're already using, right? So whether you're using Chrome or Safari on your phone, you can use dApps right there by connecting them to Rainbow via Wallet Connect. And yeah, I don't know. I think that people really like Rainbow because it's kind of it has a very fun aesthetic. It's designed, we put a lot of attention to detail into our designs and our user experience. And it also is just, I guess, really popular with NFT people because we make NFTs look really pretty and allow you to organize them in fun ways.
And so where's the focus of, I've seen you've been hiring a lot and that's awesome. Where's the next focus of Rainbow kind of in 2022 from like a product perspective? Like, I've seen you do some really cool stuff with the ENS names, making like an ENS name searchable and that wallet accessible, almost like Google, but for Ethereum, which I love that feature. But I'm curious, like where your head's at with the product roadmap.
Yes. So we do have some really cool ENS features coming soon. We're about to have a feature in the app that lets a user buy an ENS name and then configure its profile metadata. Right. So essentially what we're going to let you do is create your Ethereum profile based on ENS. And what that means is basically you can have, a username, which will be, galley.eth or whatever. And then you can have things like an avatar and like metadata, things like, a bio and, like a link to your Twitter, a link to your Instagram, etc. And all of those things will be stored on chain, which what that ends up giving you is a portable user profile, right? So it's actually a user profile that it's not a Rainbow profile, it's an Ethereum profile. And you can like carry it, if you say, fuck Rainbow, I hate Rainbow, that's fine. Like you can actually take that profile and you can eject from Rainbow and go use another wallet. But what's exciting about these Ethereum profiles is that any website out there basically can hook into them. Meaning, like you could, for example, if this continues to see adoption, what you'll end up with is a world in which you land on a website and instead of having to like create a new profile, right, for every new thing that you sign up for, it can essentially like snap in, your standard profile that you had set up on Ethereum, right? So it's like, it's really cool. It's kind of like a continuation of the same vision that this project called Gravatar. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like, this popular web thing, I don't know, man, maybe like 8 years ago. Okay. And it was this system where they tried to make this, it was called Gravatar. And it was a system where, it was like, hey guys, come and add an avatar over here on Gravatar. And then any website you sign up for can like ping Gravatar and see if we have an avatar like registered for you, blah blah blah. And that was like really cool for a minute, and like it got adoption from some nerdy stuff. But it's like that same vision, I guess, is now being like, championed by ENS and these Ethereum profiles, and I think it's just a far better solution all around. So yeah, that's an exciting part of our roadmap. But I think that really Rainbow has two high level goals for 2022 that are really driving our roadmap. And we think that if we achieve these two goals, that Rainbow can be a wholesale replacement for MetaMask and to truly become the new default Ethereum wallet, and potentially also compete directly with Coinbase. Okay. So these two high level goals are, one, to get Rainbow to have a world-class fiat on-ramping experience. Okay. What that means is basically we want to let our users go from dollars in their bank account or their debit card, right, into a stable coin instantly via a layer 2 for the best possible rates, right? So, for example, we think the best fiat on-ramping experience out there, the best in the market today is probably Cash App. And the goal for this year is to essentially have a Cash App level, quality fiat on-ramping experience in Rainbow.
Or like Coinbase, right? And so how different is the tech behind the scenes that are you doing it in a totally different way than those guys are? Are you just kind of replicating, or?
That's a great question. Coinbase could be doing this. Is this was we Gally and I were talking a little bit before the call, audience, and I was telling him I might drag him a little bit for some of his I guess pre-formed opinions. Maybe he has these opinions that he hasn't really thought too hard about. Okay, but yes. So your favorite company, Coinbase, Gally, it is similar to this, right? So Coinbase is a fiat on-ramping experience. Now there's a lot of there's a lot of things about the Coinbase experience that are like not good, right, and are actually less good than Cash App. So a couple of those things are, one is like instant liquidity. So Coinbase, actually has pretty low limits on their ability to like add cash. So like Rainbow thinks that we're going to be able to, for example, get like 15 grand. Like you'll be able to like deposit 15 grand off a debit card and have that money be liquid immediately, right, without like any like wait time windows or anything that Coinbase does. But what you were saying, Coinbase could get into this business, right, and decide to become this like fiat on-ramping, provider, and they should, except that they won't, because they, don't understand the game, Gally. So the game here is actually dollars to stable coins exclusively. So the rest of Coinbase's business about, dollars to Litecoin and dollars to Bitcoin and dollars to this and that is all actually an outdated business that is no longer relevant, because essentially now, with all of these decentralized exchanges on Uniswap or on Ethereum, things like Uniswap, things like SushiSwap, etc., there's actually much deeper liquidity on these decentralized exchanges, and the game ends up becoming like, how can you get a user, how can you get stable coins into the hands of the user, so that they can then go buy the thing they want on one of these decentralized exchanges. And in that paradigm, right, like Coinbase's core business is kind of dead, right? Like, why would I buy Ethereum from Like, all Coinbase should actually be doing is focusing on getting dollars into stable coins. And in my opinion, they won't realize that. And what's going to end up happening is a competitor is going to come through and offer that exact service that I'm describing, right? And Coinbase will inevitably have to, like, that essentially like leapfrog, like, so other people are going to leapfrog Coinbase.
And as a user, that would mean like I wait less time to get access to the full money, and I'm in theory getting a slightly better rate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you can go from dollars into any of the assets that you want, right? Not just the random ones that Coinbase lists, right? So it's like Coinbase only lists like a subset of assets. Often it's like they're not even necessarily good assets. They're, or like, you know, the ones that you might want to buy, right? So yeah. Wait, what was your question again?
No, no, this is super interesting because, and this is the crux of our beef is like, I'm bullish on Coinbase. I own a little bit of stock, a lot more in Rainbow, but I just think what they've done is, I like Brian Armstrong, but what they've done is impressive, bro. Like they built an incredible business. And I
When
think
I
it's,
talk
we're,
smack, it's like David to get, you know, you know, it's like David and Galilee, you know, it's like, you know, they're the big, you know, incumbent, right? And
David
I'm, you
Goliath.
know, David and Goliath. Yeah, what did I say? Or whatever. But yeah, it's like, you know, I think it's okay to take shots on Goliath. But however, it's like, you know, all due respect to Coinbase, right? Like I wouldn't, you know, I don't think that a lot of the industry would be here without Coinbase. But at the same time, right? Like you know, I don't know. Like I kind of, you know, uh these, you know, they could have been doing this stuff. Like I don't know. Like I've been tweeting this stuff for, you know, I don't know. It's like these are my thoughts. I could be wrong, but I think that they're fumbling the opportunity. Um,
Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like we're still talking about kind of like pennies on the dollar in terms of like just the fiat on ramp of crypto as being $100 billion business. And like OpenSea raising 300 million, I think at 13 billion or something. It's like that came out of nowhere, but that's almost a second layer. And now Coinbase is trying to copy them, which I'm super bullish on. Obviously, it's a huge swing, could be a miss. But I think I love how they're seeing how profitable that is and how much money OpenSea is making ASAP. And like, this is the future. And they're like, let's get into it, not miss this. So I kind of respect them from that and like it as a shareholder, but I do see they're playing
let's
catch
just
up.
jump right into this, bro, because I have
Yeah.
strong opinions about this in particular. Okay. So, well, so no, I get it. I think that, yes, I see what you just described as being, you know, the thing that you respect them, like wanting to jump into the ring or whatever. I view that actually as them FOMOing and not having a plan, or like not having considered
Fair.
the,
Fair.
the thing. And so here's how I think about things, right? So I think that there's that Coinbase's plan of launching an NFT marketplace. There's some cool things about their idea, right? Where basically, you know, it's essentially going to be a curated marketplace, right? Where it only has, you know, good NFTs, whatever, right? That can be kind of cool, right? Like there's a lot of junk on OpenSea. I think that in reality, you know, there's the projects that Coinbase has picked to work with are actually good. I like those projects, right? And there's enough of them that I don't think that there's like, you know, that users are going to feel like there's not enough or anything like that. My main issue with Coinbase's NFT marketplace strategy is just kind of thinking about it one or two steps ahead, right? Which is it actually meaningfully going to compete with OpenSea? And I think the answer is no. And I think the reason why is actually because of so OpenSea is currently the primary venue for buyers and sellers, right? So if you're a buyer or a seller of an NFT, the first place you go is OpenSea. Now, all of a sudden, when Coinbase NFT marketplace launches, right? Now there's two venues potentially, like two big high-end, you know, brand name venues that a user could be going to. And what that's going to end up causing actually is fragmentation in the liquidity, right? So say you have all these whatever, you know, creatures, like those are, you know, some NFT called creatures, right? Like say there's all these creature auctions happening. Now, in the past, a user, both buyers and sellers would be going to OpenSea, and that's where all of the, you know, auctions would be happening. But then now when there's two venues, Coinbase and OpenSea, both buyers and sellers are going to have to start actually keeping track of both of those venues, right? And in my mind, what that actually forces into the market is basically creates an opportunity for aggregator products. You know, like what Rainbow is going to be working on things like this. So, you know, in effect, right, like when you start having, you know, like from a user facing perspective, like all a user wants to do is see all of the auctions, right? Like they don't actually care what platform it's being auctioned on, right? Like that is not actually interesting, right? And really they also just want the lowest fees, right? So the Coinbase NFT marketplace to me is kind of short-sighted in that it's actually only going to hasten the adoption of one of these aggregator products. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just basically think that like, yeah, that like the NFT marketplace thing is kind of like, you know, Coinbase FOMOing without necessarily having considered like the deep market, you know, the second order effects of this.
Yeah, and
Does
I
that make sense?
yeah, totally. And it is super convenient to go to OpenSea, and it feels like OpenSea's already crushing it at this, and they've dominated and they got such a critical mass. Like I think they're going to be the player in it for a while. But it'll be interesting to see if
We'll see.
yeah, because I just think what Coinbase is doing is awesome though. Because OpenSea has like a couple
Yes.
100,000 users, 500,000. Coinbase has like 70 million. So
Yes.
I'm actually bullish on this for Ethereum. And it's not even just Coinbase. That's just an example of like the amount of dev and resources. Like if you talk to anybody, they're all scared because people like you are hiring all the smartest engineers in the world, and everyone else is having a mega hiring debacle. But even beyond all that, it's just where's the talent going? It is running. It is sprinting at Web3. That is where like, and I
Yeah.
can't. So it's what OpenSea versus Coinbase, who knows? But I just see the momentum here. Like 2022 is about to pop off.
All of these things that I'm saying, even if I'm being spicy towards any of these other players in the, all of this is good for Ethereum, right? This is only good for Ethereum. Uh, all of this like, uh, yeah, all of this spiciness is just,
So let's talk about that.
you know,
What's good with ETH? Because I see them, they're doing like 37, I think today it's 37 million bucks in fees, which is like 20 billion
yeah,
a year, 10 billion a year. So this
yeah,
is, you can actually start to value Ethereum like a 20, 30p. That's more than Bitcoin. That's the most people are paying to use any blockchain in the world. So when people are talking about the high gas fees, I love what you said on the odd lots of like, it's a luxury product. Like that's the way I look at it. And I'm like, people are like, it's too expensive to use. It's not working. And I'm like, no, it's working. The market clearing price is 200 bucks to mint an NFT. It's working. People are spending 40 million bucks a day on that. Like you saying
yeah.
it's too high is just your opinion. And I think it will come down over time. But I've almost taken the contrarian take that with fees being this high and we're seeing so much adoption still, wait until they come down. But with that kind of lens, I'm curious what you think of L2. And
Yeah.
you showed me that dope website, which maybe you could tell me one more time. But what's happening with the
Yeah,
L2 and
I
E
think it's
scaling? Yes.
L2beat.com, I think, yeah. Yeah, so what's going on with yeah, Ethereum, how's Ethereum doing? State of Ethereum is good right now. Fees are a little high. And yeah, I do resonate with your vibes there about how to think about fees. Now, obviously it's not ideal. You know, it would be amazing if like, uh if the network was scalable to the point where it's like everyone in the world could be using this and like, fuck the old financial systems like all over here because why not, transactions are abundant, whatever. But the reality of it is that right now that's not the situation, and that the technology needs to develop a little bit further before we get there. But the world of layer twos is actually fucking dope and very exciting. um so yeah, there's a few websites. I think it's like l2beat.com, and I think it's like l2fees.com.info. I don't know. But yeah, there's a number of really exciting layer two solutions coming for Ethereum. So right now today, there's Optimism, Arbitrum, those are the two like optimistic rollups. Then you have things like ZK Sync, and you also have things like Starknet, and those are like ZK rollups. And then you also have like some other various things that are kind of called like side chains, like Polygon, and there's another one called like Gnosis chain as well. And across all of those different networks, basically whatever you're looking for in a layer two probably exists in one of those. Now, not all of the dApps you want to use might not exist in those places yet, but that's actually happening. Very quickly. More, dApps are like rolling out on those chains, steadily. I think that in reality, the transition to layer two is probably going to happen, over the next like year and a half, right? Or like, as in like, in a year from now or year and a half from now, a brand new user might not even like, they will have no concept of a $200 gas fee, right? That's kind of what I mean, right? Like it might take a year or a year and a half in order to get like a new user to truly have no like they had no idea that it used to be that expensive, et cetera, right? Um, right now though, Rainbow is focused on kind of making sure that Rainbow stays a fully featured product, right? Like a very like, unbounded product, right? That essentially works for all of the things that you can do on Ethereum, which is a broader set of things currently that than you can do on layer twos. So like, so right now, we're not like, there's a lot more work that Rainbow needs to do on layer twos, but we are kind of like, other products in the space, or I guess like, exclusively working on layer two things. In our mind, though, like that is like often those products actually then kind of have like a subset of features, right? Where it's like, oh, like cool, transactions are 5 cents, but you can only trade these 5 assets back and forth, and like that's kind of not what we want to do. So like we're kind of maintaining it's like okay for this stuff to be a little bit of a luxury product, because the future is bright and it won't be like that for long. So let's just call it, it is what it is. Let's nothing wrong with that. Let's keep working on it.
Yeah, that was a great explanation. And I think even this year, I'm looking at the chart, it says like 50 million to almost like 5 billion in liquidity. And I know it's not perfect, but that just to give you a flavor of like 100x of the ecosystem in 2021. And this year, so it's booming. And your breakdown of how it's like, well, they work, but this what you can do with them is small. So you can feel it bubbling up though. And with that lens, like, what do you think of when people talk about Solana and all that stuff? Because I know, what's your take on all
I
that?
think that, yeah. So a couple of these, so Solana in particular, is interesting. It has some novel improvements to the architecture, right? Like it essentially, um, in a lot of ways, Ethereum can be thought of almost as like a Frankenstein, right? Like it's this thing that kind of like it started and it was ugly and messy, and it's been built up and like patched up over the years, right? But it's like so like maybe old decisions in the world of Ethereum like still kind of linger and cause problems today, whereas a Solana kind of got to start from scratch, right? And learn from that and architect things a little bit cleaner from the beginning. Now, I think that Solana though, so I have concerns about the centralization of Solana, right? Like it's significantly more centralized than Ethereum, and I think that actually matters a lot. Um, I think that if governments could shut down DeFi, I think they would. I think that actually, when you listen to the politicians, if you listen to like these Senate hearings where the boomers, are talking about crypto, right? For whatever reason, I don't know who got to them, but basically, you'll hear the boomers go, "Oh, well, this one is actually decentralized," which means, it's okay, right? Well, the only reason it means it's okay is because, like, it like the boomers essentially realize, oh, if it's decentralized, we can't do anything about it. Therefore, we have to allow it to exist, right? So anyway, so I'm kind of like I'm a big believer in in the necessity for decentralization, but I guess kind of like my biggest my biggest thing about Solana, or I guess like the reason I don't really think about it very much, or like the reason that Rainbow is not interested in like integrating Solana, is that it's really like essentially it has to compete with Ethereum for network effects, right? So for Solana, for the Solana vision to work, it essentially needs to go from having zero to then be like zero network. It currently has like it's a network effect of zero, like it has zero network, and is like needs to now compete with the entire network effects that Ethereum has built up over the years. um and I'm skeptical that can happen. um and yeah, in general, like I don't think that a lot of the assets I think that all of the interesting assets that people actually want to trade are happening in the world of Ethereum. Um, I think the last thought I have on Solana is just the idea that, like, the gains that Solana, the performance advantages of Solana, right? Like the cost reductions in gas, et cetera, that people see on Solana, those are actually not meaningfully, like, actually these Ethereum layer twos actually have higher throughputs and actually cheaper transaction costs than Solana. I've yet to see any examples of any use cases of Solana that cannot be done. Like, as in, there's nothing that you can only do on Solana, right? Like, so in that vein, with, if that's true, right, then like why have it exist at all? Or like, essentially, why should Solana win against an Ethereum layer two? Because the thing you have to remember is that all of the assets exist on Ethereum, right? So it's like all of the most valuable NFTs, all of the most valuable tokens, they all exist on Ethereum. So like, and Solana is an inoperable system, incompatible system. It can't take Ethereum assets over there, right? So to me, it's just like, it's clear that that all of the value is currently today on Ethereum, like the scaling, the path to having Ethereum scale, to the same degree as Solana is like very clear, and like the roadmap for that is like, is like in motion. So yeah, I don't know. I think Solana, it's an interesting. I'm happy that the experiment is like running its course, but I personally think that I think that you have to remember that that honestly, it's like, I'm a pretty cynical person when it comes to crypto, honestly, right? Like, or like, I think that in general, you need to almost assume the worst, and only start to trust something once you fully understood it. And I think that over the years of me being in the crypto space, I've seen a lot of blockchains kind of like, they would like rise and fall, right? And I think that Solana has
Cardano.
been I mean, Cardano, like EOS is a great example, right? Like, even like, yeah, like Steam, like, I don't know. And, Solana's been around for like a minute, right? Like, it's been around for like no time. It has no history. And I think that it's, yeah, all around, I'm just kind of like, I think that it has a lot to prove. And I think that like, that honestly, it doesn't really bring much to the table in the world of ZK rollups on Ethereum, right? Like, so the like what Starknet is bringing to the table here is like, it essentially makes Solana irrelevant in my mind.
And I almost view them as like the Rivian of the crypto world. It's like Ethereum worked, and everyone assumes that because ETH worked, this will work, and ETH is huge and working, so we'll value the one that's smaller getting this percent. It's like an MBA did the valuation. You know
That's
what I mean?
always happened. Yes, that
Yeah.
happens in crypto. Yes.
So that's kind of my take on Solana, but I'm also like, and on the flip side of watching Tesla on the come up, it's like, this is what happens. ETH is working, and it's the nature of crypto that's even more replicable than other industries because the code's open source. So you're going to have to get ready for this. Even like Rainbow, like how much of your code is open source, you know, right? And so that's kind of a new Wild West world where you're going to see a lot of these copycats come out faster because of that. But it's just kind of a compliment to ETH at the end of the day, is what I would say.
Yes. Now, the thing to just, it's like, so yes, you're right. And narratives do play a huge role in crypto. And that's, since I got into crypto, that exact phenomenon has happened, right? Where basically um, something shows success, and then all of a sudden, like anything like it gets repriced, right? Now, the thing to just remember though is that that the money often that is rotating into those like follow-on trades is often, right, the weakest hands, right? So it's like it's like I don't know. I don't really concern myself with all of those like other Ethereum competitors, because in my mind it's like, sure, you could make short-term money like betting on them or whatever, because it's like expecting the narrative to continue. But in my mind, it's just like, it's just a distraction. I don't know. But also it's like, this is just my opinion, guys. I'm, I don't know.
Yeah, you have an ETH wallet. You run an ETH company, so of course you
I,
have a wallet.
I'm definitely but it's like I run an ETH
You make good
company
points
because
though.
like, yeah, like I run, if I, if I would run a Solana wallet if I thought it was a good idea. I just don't. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Vitalik is paying, you know what I mean? Like there's like no one paid us to make an Ethereum wallet, right? Whereas
ETH just
well,
actually
a
has
lot of
stuff
these,
that people want to do, so that's why you built the
yeah,
wallet for it, because nobody
and a
it
lot of
wouldn't
these
have any
other,
users.
yeah, and like a lot of these other Ethereum killer networks, right? They actually have huge hundreds of millions of dollar like ecosystem funds where they essentially like pay people to make stuff for their eco. So it's like, oh shit, we need a wallet for my random blockchain. Like, we need one really bad. So like they just throw money at things, right? So it's like a lot of the like adoption that you see of these other networks is actually just kind of like paid for, right? Where it's like, you know, uh, it's like how many, like a good example I like to pick on is like Flow, right? Like Flow, it's like the blockchain made by the Dapper Labs people. Like it's where like NBA Top Shot was happening. There's only like one wallet that supports Flow. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like there's only one wallet. Like a user has no choice. Like there's no actual ecosystem there. And even in the world of Solana, it's like there's really only one wallet. It's like Phantom. I guess there's like another one kind of too, but everyone just uses Phantom. And I don't know. To me, that's a sign of an unhealthy ecosystem.
And to flip it back, because I don't even want to spend too much time on Solana, on ETH, to me the moment for ETH is exactly what we're saying, like the network effects. Like that's so hard to replicate, and I feel like it's been taking a long time to build because you have the main chain and you have so many ancillary products and services to make the main chain fun and sexy and easy to use for the user interface. Like Rainbow is part of that stack, right? And so to me, there's been that stack is being built for years, and this ENS, I mean, obviously I'm biased on Rainbow, but the whole social profile thing you're building that you were just leaked and what you were hinting at earlier in the podcast about like this being an identity almost like a login. I don't know. I kind of want to spend a little more time on this because I feel like this is something really, really big. And to me, it makes Rainbow almost a social network. And you bring in a component, another, I got to give a shout out to Public because I always give them a shout out as being the only verified social network. They have to do KYC for every customer. So when I post something on Public, it's not a bot, it's not a spam, it's not Twitter, it's me with my portfolio, with transparency. That adds a different layer. To me, it's like the first truly verified social network. Rainbow's kind of doing this in a weird way where Ethereum is going to have, you'll be verified. Like I can see what NFTs you own. I can see how much ETH you have in your wallet. I can see how long you've had that wallet. I can see what else you're doing. And you can just tap into all of that. And to me, that's such a, I don't know. I just think we're onto something super big there with Ethereum essentially creating a social network, is what we're kind of seeing happen in real time.
Yes. I agree. I think that so the way that I've been thinking about it lately is thinking about how like Rainbow is kind of a Trojan horse to get public key cryptography into the hands of regular people. And you know, uh, right now, the public key, the reason that the end user wants the public key cryptography is so that they can speculate on JPEGs and random tokens, right? But actually, there's all of these like, uh, further benefits that society can benefit from having, a populace uh, that is like, equipped and educated about public key cryptography. One of those things, yes, is this idea of essentially using your keys, your wallet, as a login. And we think that that's like a far better user experience than a username and password, like across the board, right? So, like, if you go to Uniswap today, and you log into it, there's actually no login button. There's a button that says connect your wallet. So when you click connect your wallet, you connect to your wallet, and then bam, it's like you're like logged in. It sees the contents of your wallet, etc. And that's just like far better, right? Because like, I think, dude, I think I was making fun of you recently because you were telling me that you don't use a password manager. and it's like, bro, like, oh, bro, it's like,
That's like
bro, you might have to
hella high on
fucking
my to-do
edit that.
list.
You
I
gotta
know. I
fucking
gotta cut that out. I gotta cut that
edit.
out.
No, you don't. No, you shouldn't cut it. I don't know. I'm joking. But like, wait, fuck. You think so? I don't think so. I think
No,
you
no,
should
no.
leave that in.
I appreciate, bro. You don't understand how much I appreciate the G checks, bro. Like
Okay, right.
you
I think
helping
you can
me.
leave
I
this in. I
please.
think yo, see, everyone in the audience, they see that we're fucking homies, okay? And I'm trying to. So Gally over here, it's like, okay, listen, username and passwords suck, okay? And it's really important to use a password manager so that you have fucking 30-character long gibberish passwords for everything, because that's really the only way to have a secure like login experience. The thing is, though, is that average people don't use so many people don't even know about password managers, let alone use them, right? And that's why I'm excited about using your Ethereum wallet as a login, because it essentially completely sidesteps that,
It's
and
like
it removes the need.
cryptographically secure digital identity almost,
Yeah.
which is yeah. Like already logging into OpenSea is way easier than logging into most websites. And so I think what we're hitting on, like we call it the password, but what we're really hitting on is like this huge moment of like you in the metaverse. How do I verify that you, this human, own these assets that are in the metaverse? That's the moment of the password, the login or whatever. And to me, it's like the password, the way the system works on Web 2.0 is a disaster. So this isn't going away. I feel like that's why I wanted to say it, because I feel like it sounds nerdy and lame to like password managers, who cares? But actually we're hitting on like the crux of like the future of the human experience, which is how do you verify your identity in the digital universe. And like
Yeah. Yeah. Uh so yeah, I'm really hyped on that. I'm really excited to see the adoption of ENS. I'm really excited to see people, talking more and more about using like sign in with Ethereum. I think that, over this year we're going to see that grow quite a bit. I think that it's very like user centric.
what will it enable? Like why is it so exciting?
Well, what's exciting about it is that it to me, it actually has a chance of bringing all of the benefits of a password manager to regular people without having to have, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's essentially like it, coaxing uh, the consumer audience into having kind of a better, password like user experience, as well as like hygiene, right? Because like if you ask a user to give them a username and a password, there's a chance that they're going to give you the same password that they've been using for the last 20 years, which is actually like bad. Like you shouldn't even let them give that to
It's
you.
like now they could
So
just log into any site using your email and password you just gave them, which they know you probably use for every other site.
right. So it's like, like just completely sidestepping that and like not even letting the user give you their bad password and to instead just sign in with their Ethereum wallet, I think is a better user experience. Yeah. And in general, I just think that, yeah, like, you know, um, one of the big tenets of like Web3 is just this idea of data portability. So this idea that, so say you have like, say you fill out all of this information into some profile on some site. That site should let you export that, right? And like let you like things should be interoperable with each other more. And this like sign in with Ethereum experience is kind of like step one in like it's like kind of like the foot in the door that then enables more and more of those use cases. Um, because like more and more things can then start actually tying themselves to your Ethereum address, which then makes them portable. If that makes sense.
Wow. So this is a key foundational pillar, it sounds like. Are you seeing anything else crazy and cool happen on ETH? Any DAOs, any big NFT drops, anything Unisoc, the next Unisoc? What's something crazy that gets you like what are you nerding out about on the ETH blockchain? Because I know you're always nerding out about some project.
Yeah, I'm really into this thing lately called Juicebox. Um, and did you see that thing recently that it was like ConstitutionDAO?
Yes, that was a really cool, and the fact that the Ken Griffin Robin Hood Citadel, I mean, bro, we're in Black Mirror, bro. We're already in an
I know,
episode.
it's so
Like,
funny.
but
It's so
yeah,
funny. Juicebox is the platform that ConstitutionDAO used, right, to actually enable their endeavor. So what Juicebox is like it's like a generalized um, platform for like essentially like crowdfunding anything, right? So it's like so like yeah, like it's completely configurable, right? So it's like you could do anything from hey, give me money to like to the Constitution DAO, where the actual like the money that was being collected was actually being collected into a multi-sig of like whatever the Council of the Constitution and DAO people or like whatever, right? So it's like what I'm getting at is that Juicebox is like a very open-ended platform. But what I'm excited about is actually that Constitution DAO use case. So I'm really excited about the internet um, essentially like rallying and crowdfunding essentially public goods or other like normally when people talk about public goods they almost mean like freaking open source software and stuff like that, but I even just mean like truly anything. Like I've recently been thinking a lot about I kind of have this harebrained scheme for using Juicebox to try to fund a national park. Okay, so it's like, what if the internet uh, crowdfunded a new national park, right? Because actually, all it would take is every American only donating $1.50. Okay, so all it so okay, so there's so the largest plot of land in the largest plot of land for sale in America today is in Texas. Okay, and it's the land is roughly half the size of Rhode Island. Okay, so it's very large. Okay, and it costs $450 million. Okay, now like that's not too much money for the internet, right? So it's like actually in the scale of the internet, that's not that much money, as well as the fact that it's like the largest plot of land for etc. For sale in America. I think has like strong meme factor, like viral.
Well, it's almost like a stable coin backed by land, because once the end financial product that you have is backed by land. So like it's this isn't a Bored Ape where it's like a thing in the metaverse. It's like this is a really interesting. I love that you are saying this. But
Yes. So
yeah,
the
keep
thing,
going.
so Juicebox enables would enable that to happen, right? And I just think that like I'm really bullish on those kinds of things, right? Where basically there's this like psychological phenomena of like you know like hey, there's this crazy thing, and you know what? Like, I'm not going to go quit my job to pursue it, but I'll give $3. And if everyone just gives $3, then that crazy thing can happen. And like, let's just do it. Right. And I think that there's a lot of those things that could be happening. Everything from like funding parks to funding, like
And
literally, it's like
the
buying
parks
a
example.
stadium, like the internet could buy a stadium, right? And call it, Bodie McBoatface Stadium or like whatever, right? Like that kind of stuff is in the realm of possibilities here.
It's crazy how it's like true democracy in a way, and it's almost replacing our government institutions. I think like aren't doing enough, and we have like so much like kind of I don't know how to put my finger on that like need for our generation, but when you say something like that, it's like we all want more parks. This is for sale. Let's save it. Like the internet will just sidestep every regulation and law and government entity and just do it. And it's almost like a new way that's controlled by no company to or no country or no anything to just get shit done based on the will of like enough humans, which is like that's such a powerful technology. And that's why people try and hate on me for like liking ETH and its pollution and like what happened to you liking Tesla and saving the planet, Gally. And I'm like, bro, yeah, well, but my take on that is like you can't. ETH is good. If we have the mindset of if we consume more energy, energy's bad. Anything that consumes energy is bad. Well, don't get in your car. Rockets. Don't get in your house. Don't turn the lights on. Don't have heat in your home because that's polluting too. Like, in fact, you shouldn't be eating or anything. You should just die. That's actually the most sustainable thing for you to do. You should just die if you want to be sustainable. Die
Yeah,
if you
bro. I
want to
thought
be
you cared
sustainable.
about the environment, bro.
Dude, I'm on one about this because the amount of people I've been meeting who are like in Seattle and they're like, yeah, I really care about climate change. And then I'm like, what do you think about Tesla? Like, I hate Tesla. It sucks. And so they're driving a gas car, hating on, Anyway, we're getting into a bad place, but
People in our generation that are confused, Callie, and it's okay. I think that you know, in time, like, they will understand, like, they'll see the world more clearly.
like when you think of the excitement of ETH as an asset, why it's worth all this energy even, and why you spend your life on it, like how do you put into words to people who don't get how exciting it is? Like, why is it so exciting of an opportunity for you to build on Ethereum?
Um, so that's a good. I mean, man, that's one of them really open-ended questions. So I think that um I think that uh the goal of essentially disintermediating, middlemen, right? Like removing middlemen and essentially like trying to commoditize as many, or as many things as possible is good for the world. Like, basically, you know, margins of, financial services, the margins for those should be driven as low as possible, right? Like, it's like, if technology can do this thing, um, technology should do it, right? Instead of that person on Wall Street doing it, right? So broadly, I think that we should always be using technology in order to further each individual, and, like, their freedom and like their liberty, right? Um, I think that, like, I don't know, you gave me these open-end questions. Okay, listen, like, Ethereum is very, like, empowering to the individual, right? All of these systems actually are putting a lot of control back into the individual, right? And I think that that's healthy. I think that currently the world is too much in the hands of institutions that are actually fragile, right? And that broadly, like, these institutions are only showing, like, have only showed their inability to kind of, like, adapt. But more broadly, what you were just talking about before about government, the reason I'm really into Ethereum, or how I got into it in the first place, was just realizing that this is all actually step one. The money use case, etc., the financial use case is actually step one, in kind of a multi-step process towards injecting technology into democracy in general, right? So it's like there's actual fundamental, like, the American political system is, like,
Still paper. They're still using paper out here.
yeah. I'm just very interested in kind of, like, the future of democracies, and I guess, like, political systems. I think that these technologies offer a lot of really interesting futures there, right? There's very interesting concepts of, like, liquid democracies, right? Like, this concept of, like, being able to, like, delegate your vote to other people. I think that DAOs, for example. So okay, yeah. So I think one of the more exciting, tangible things that Ethereum can do in the next short couple of years is really shake up, and kind of like shake up what it means to be a small business owner in America, right? So if you're a small business owner today, if you run a coffee shop, and say you want to be a fucking cool coffee shop, and you want to do something like, have a revenue split with your employees, right? Where you essentially want to, like, cut your employees in on the profits, profit sharing on all the coffee that you sell. Like, doing that today is, I don't even know what this first step would be. If I like, I'm pretty savvy in things. It's like I don't even know who the first person I would call would be to actually implement that. Like, how do I actually set that up? Do I talk to a lawyer first? Do I talk to an accountant? Like, am I the right type of corporate entity? Blah blah blah. It's like, but in the world of Ethereum, right? If your corporate entity was actually a DAO, the ability to remix your corporate structure is, potentially a click away, in this future that we're talking about here, right? Where essentially you can remix the incentives inside of your organization. You can, I broadly think that, like, in the next couple of years, we'll see, a resurgence of things like interesting like cooperative like models, right? Like things like co-ops, and things like broadly, I mean, not to get too political, I broadly think like unions are kind of an antiquated structure. I think I vibe with the concept of unions, but not the current like implementation. It feels like really.
The DAO is almost the new union. Like a DAO is kind of a union. It's just with tech and like done, frankly, what I think more democratically.
Yes. So, I mean, the thing is that this future that I'm talking about here is not really possible until the boomer feds change the laws, right? Which I think is inevitable. Um, I think that when they do that, I think that America is going to kind of see like a new renaissance in capitalism, where basically, like the small business uh, owners of America are going to actually have like a lot more tools at their disposal. I broadly think that like that they're going to have more opportunities than they've ever had before.
And you say small business owner, I almost feel like it's like the solopreneur. And one tangible example of when you say changing the laws, so the biggest pent up thing I can think of for me personally is let's create a galley token. So you can literally buy in and invest on what I invest in and mirror my portfolio. Like, and that should be liquid and trade around the world and be
That's hella
frictionless.
illegal right now.
It's hella illegal, but it makes no sense. And like, it would make me a ton of money. It would make all my LP, yeah, I don't, yeah, like, but that's the kind of stuff. When you say new renaissance, that's what's coming.
These laws were invented so fucking long ago, and it was like so long ago when people, the average American was like an idiot. They didn't have modern education, right? Like we're talking about a world in which people didn't have like modern education, and where if you walked to like the center of town, to your town square, right, some like really charismatic dude could trick you and make you buy some snake oil and shit, right? Like that was the actual threat that the laws were trying to solve for, right? Was like that. And I think the world is very different than that now, right? Where it's like your average person is actually kind of discerning, or is like way more discerning than they used to be. And broadly doesn't need that kind of paternalistic protection. But yeah, man, I mean, I really wish the boomers would let me buy Galley coin. I don't know why they're trying to hold back America like this.
And that's such a small example, but I feel it's like it's a tool. That's what crypto is. It's a tool, and it's a tool that makes it more frictionless to organize humans around a cause. And so I think that it's an incentive system to organize humans around a cause. And to me, that's like when I think of the era of hyperchange, of us having to get our shit together and adapt to all these things that are moving. Like we need to have the most frictionless tools for getting shit done and organizing money and moving that money. Let's say an asteroid's about to hit Earth. Is the guy, I almost have as much faith as the internet putting together a DAO to buy a SpaceX rocket from Elon and paying him $5 billion so he can buy more Tesla stock to figure it out.
Elon,
like, you know what I'm saying?
If Elon is trying to like charge us for that, Elon's full of shit if he's not willing to shoot. Why is Elon need to get
free.
paid?
I'm just saying in the
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's a yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, phew. Elon, if you're watching, we know you'd help for free, dog. We know, like
Jeff Bezos, though. Jeff Bezos would definitely.
He would charge us.
Yes, he would fucking charge us, dude.
Yeah. Oh my, bro, that's hilarious.
It's because he knows he has intelligence about the asteroid. He knows.
Dude, this has been dope. Do you have anything else? Any plugs on Rainbow? Any other big things we need to talk about?
I mean, you're done? You got nothing to talk
about? No, let's keep going. My tech setup is gonna run out of juice, but let's keep going.
You're okay. Yeah, dog. Let me think. Like, what's been interesting to you in this space? Like, what have you had your eyes on, Callie?
It's interesting that like every I think this restaurant idea is fascinating to me. Like I love fine dining. Like I love restaurants. Okay. I think food is art, and it's one of them. And our generation loves experiences. You'll see where I'm going with this. And we don't appreciate food as art, but it's happening. And what's the number one thing I want to do when I go to a new city? I want to go to the dopest restaurant in that city, but it's always sold out and I don't know how to do it. And the restaurant, it should be NFTs. I think Gary Vee's already doing this, but like NFTs for seats at these bougie restaurants that then trade in the secondary market. And all of a sudden that restaurant is getting revenue from each transaction in the secondary market, because when LeBron James goes to New York and says, I don't give a fuck, I'll pay $5 million to go to Nobu tonight, Nobu just made $500K on that. And they should have, because that's the demand for them. And that makes it more liquid for people to get what they want. And you made a res at Nobu 6 months out. Now you're a millionaire because LeBron wanted it that night. Like that's just a weird kind of like future that my mind envisions. But everything is liquid, everything's tradable, and like tying it back to why it's so exciting and the conversations going on in my life and business world, it's like every business could do a strategy like this. Like my friend's making bagels. He wants to do it so you can only buy his bagels if you have an NFT to his bagel club, and then they can trade the NFT so you can go, but then he'll get a cut of that. So it's like empowering all these small business owners, like you say, and every startup and company and entrepreneur that I'm talking to is figuring out a way to use this tool to put into their business and give them so much more power and control. And especially for like these artists is really the ones who it's helping. Is like my favorite painter. I've used this before, but like this dude, this guy who painted this, like super dope IRL painter, like, but now he's doing an NFT project, and just like talking to him about how like there's a community around it, how he's making more money, how he can pay his rent, how he can live in the West Village and make more art now. Like that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, damn, like this isn't just in the metaverse. This is helping the real verse. And you know.
Yes. I think that over the next couple of years, we're going to see, you know, like Ethereum start affecting regular people's lives much more tangibly. And I think, yeah, I think that I think that the artist class, like the creative class right now, is like the first demographic that's really seeing that wave. And I think the next demographic is going to be kind of the small business crowd.
Ooh, I have an interesting idea to take the conversation, because with the whole Web3 metaverse thing, I don't know how much you find this interesting, but it's like, okay, well, what is the Web3 and the metaverse? I realized crypto, like everyone thinks it's like this world that's Decentraland or it's gonna get invented. It's The Sims, but I'm like, no, it's like Instagram and Twitter. Like when I go over to my friend's house and he's ignoring me and he's just reading tweets, like he's in the metaverse. You know what I mean? Like he's already there. It's just not a world that looks like the world we're in today. The metaverse is going to look different. The metaverse is Instagram. So I've just been thinking about that more and more, about how we're already in the metaverse.
Yeah, dog. I've been like, I've been an early metaverse explorer. I've been a deeply addicted to technology now since I've been, I don't know, probably 13 or 14. I've been like, riding that technology addiction since before it was cool. And yeah, I definitely think that that's the way to think about it. I don't know. I guess I don't spend much time thinking about kind of the skeuomorphic, metaverse concept, right? Like this idea of like a, almost like Second Life style, like, oh, I'm in this like land, like this virtual world or any, it's like, to me, yeah, the metaverse is just the internet. And kind of like, and simply your Ethereum wallet is kind of like your Pokedex, right? That is like, that you carry around with you in your adventures on the internet, or AKA the metaverse. I actually think that, taking a couple steps back in the conversation, you had asked me before about what our big plans are, and I started going off about our two high-level goals, one of them being the fiat on-ramp. And I realized I wanted to lay out a little bit more of what Rainbow's got cooking up.
That secret alpha, bro. Let's go. What are you cooking up?
So the second high level goal, right, is to bring Rainbow to all of the platforms that users care about, which today are mobile and desktop. So right now, Rainbow only exists on iOS. We're about to ship Android in a short couple of weeks here. But then what comes next is Rainbow is also going to have a native desktop app for both Windows and Mac OS, as well as a browser extension. And when we have that kind of surface area, we basically think that we're then capable of wholesale replacing MetaMask, right? Because then essentially a user there's truly no longer anything that Rainbow cannot do, right? Like there's no reason to have to use MetaMask, right? Like there's no excuse that a user could say that I need to go use MetaMask because of this reason, right? Basically all of those reasons will have been removed, and Rainbow will work for everybody. So what's exciting about that is that, right now, like using an Ethereum wallet on your desktop kind of sucks. Like MetaMask is, like everyone knows, kind of, a little janky and like a little ugly. And it's weird to use it, right? Like if you have, you open MetaMask and it's like in the top right of your browser window, it feels real weird to keep your net worth in that, right? Like that seems like a real weird form factor to be keeping you know, like these expensive NFTs in. And it's like scrolling a little window of like, these like tiny little it's like that is a bad form factor to be storing such valuable things in. So we're excited about our desktop apps because like we think they're going to just give a much better user experience and kind of give like, your assets a much better like, place to live and like, a better, kind of like space to actually like, organize them, interact with them, etc. Like, kind of it's like actually, have the NFTs, look pretty and big, right? And not in this tiny little window in the top right. So we're really excited about that because we think that if we execute on that, that Rainbow can become the new default. But
So
then some of the other stuff, yeah.
how does it work if Rainbow's like an app? Because I get it's like an app in my phone that connects to the browser, but so would my app on my computer connect to my browser a lot? Or what's the point of an app, a standalone app on my computer for Rainbow?
So the way it works is it actually is going to use Wallet Connect as well, right? So basically, you'll have your desktop app, and you can do a lot of things. You'll be able to do a lot of things directly in the app, right? So you can swap for things right in the app. You can like deposit into DeFi positions right from the app. But then if you want to go, to any of these dApps out there on the web, right? Or like, say some new NFT came out and, you go to that website and there's a button that says mint, right? All you have to do is actually use Wallet Connect. And what it'll do is it'll connect the desktop app to that website. And what's cool about that is that it allows like particularly noobs to not have to worry about a browser extension, because actually browser extensions are things that most normal people don't even know about. Like normal people
Very
don't even
nerdy.
know, they don't even know that browser extensions like exist at all as a thing. So to like, so all around, we want to remove our dependency on the browser extension. All that being said, I know I just said moments ago that Rainbow is going to have a browser extension, but that actually is going to look very different than your traditional Ethereum wallet extensions. So Rainbow's is going to be purely like kind of like a power user tool. So it's going to really like only advanced users will ever need to use the browser extension, and it's really just like a helper. Like it's like a little kind of like accessory, like a little like utility. It's not actually your wallet, right? Like so, like when you click MetaMask, it shows you your wallet. And with Rainbow's browser extension, you never see your wallet. It's not your wallet. It's purely just like a little helper. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I know. Keep going though. If you have more, I love this.
Well, so the other stuff you were talking about before was kind of like the, the web profile stuff, right? And the fact that you can like search for ENS names and things like that.
Yes, I think that has a lot of potential.
Yes, we agree, Gally. So what we want to do is Rainbow is going to be so being the wallet is actually a really privileged position to be in the ecosystem, right? So what you were saying in the intro really was like, Rainbow sits really nicely in the value chain, right? Where we can actually monetize in some really great ways, which can then allow us, right, to then kind of uh, like like offer other products um, purely to as a funnel, right, and into the core product. So we're really excited about the future of the Rainbow Web product. What we want to do with it is we're really spending a lot of time thinking about search, and we want to make our search experience like the first place a user goes to search for anything in Ethereum. So the scope of the search functionality is going to kind of be a hybrid of Etherscan, CoinGecko, and OpenSea. Okay, so what that means is that a user can paste in anything from, for example, a transaction hash, right? Or like an Ethereum address, or like a contract address, right? Um, to also being able to search for things like the word CryptoPunks, right? Or search for the word, Unisocks, or like MakerDAO, right? And Rainbow will have an interface to actually, display the results there. And what's exciting about that is that kind of coming back to what I was saying before about Coinbase and their NFT marketplace, right? Is that, you know, from a user-centric perspective, um, you know, if you're trying to buy a CryptoPunk right now, um, if you're only going to OpenSea and only looking at the CryptoPunks that are available for sale on OpenSea right now, you're actually doing yourself, a detriment, because like, you know, uh, there's there's liquidity for them elsewhere, right? So you should actually go be making sure that you're getting the best price, and that there's not another listing elsewhere. So with our web search product, we think that users are going to really like it, because if you type in the word CryptoPunks, what Rainbow can do is actually display all of the listings across all of the various marketplaces in one interface, right? So Rainbow can essentially aggregate all of the listings and all of the auctions happening in Ethereum across all of the marketplaces, and letting users interact with them directly in like one unified interface, right? Because at the end of the day, like if you're trying to buy a CryptoPunk, you really don't care who's selling it, like what marketplace is selling it to you, right? Like it's truly not important to you whatsoever. And basically, yeah. So Rainbow is really going to be trying to fight to become, the user's, preferred, starting portal, essentially, right? And that's really exciting, because we think that then gives, you know, gives Rainbow a lot of, leverage in kind of affecting, um, outcomes of these other marketplaces. So, for example, it's like Rainbow would then be in a position to, for example, start undercutting the fees of OpenSea, right? Where it's like OpenSea charges a 2.5% fee. Well, if all of a sudden Rainbow can get a lot of users to start using, this Rainbow interface to purchase their NFTs, then all of a sudden over time, like what we can do is basically like, if a user then wants to go list an NFT, right? Instead of listing it on OpenSea, Rainbow can choose to push the user to list it elsewhere, right? And that other venue might have lower fees, right? And then that might force OpenSea into lowering their fees, right? So all around, it ends up being like super beneficial to the user. But I'm really excited because I think that it's going to position Rainbow very, very well um, into the future.
It's so interesting because it's like everything in crypto is becoming commoditized except design and the customer experience, and that's what Rainbow's focused on, and that's why you're saying it's your only focus, and that's where all the power is in the whole ecosystem, because that's where the starting point for the transaction is, and that's where the flow begins. So that's why I'm so hyped on Rainbow, because I feel like you guys own that niche.
We're so amped, bro. Like bro, you should see some of these people who are joining the Rainbow team shortly. It's insane. The world class talent that is joining our team. I'm just like, I'm blown away that these people want to work with us. And I'm just like, I'm so like, freaking grateful. But yeah, I think that we're going to continue to have um, you know, uh like the best in class design in the industry. And I do agree. I think that is by far the biggest competitive advantage that Rainbow has. And I think it will continue to like reap rewards. I think that like, again, this new world that we live in here with Web3, a user can eject at any time. There's no lock in, right? Because if your Web3 product is locking in users, like that's actually hostile to the user, and users are gonna buck. Like they're not gonna like that, and that thing is not gonna see adoption in the first place. So it's like, in this world in which users can leave at any time and go start using another product, the only thing you can do is build the best product that users would prefer to use. And the way to do that is design. Like design is the literal definition of how to do that. So yeah, dog. I mean, I agree. I'm really honestly, dude. I am so hyped that you know, that you and Hyperguap were able to get involved with Rainbow, because there's like nothing cooler to me than having, being able to have my actual friends, you know, um invested in this. It's like so cool.
Dude, it's an honor, bro. I'm hyped. Um, I think I'm stoked. I mean, I've invested twice. I think Rainbow's the only startup I've ever invested twice in that I've had the chance in, and it was my first direct angel investment. So I'm stoked. I feel like I got so lucky. But I'm hyped.
You pick good winners,
And
dude.
honestly, bro, you're a hard guy to get on podcasts. People need to realize how just Rainbow, like you seem like a chill guy who's like trolling, but at the back of the day, like I describe Rainbow as like a Navy SEAL team of hackers, like literally the best coders in the world and designers, and like that's, you guys should go work for them, or like everybody. Like that's kind of what I wanted to plug. We'll definitely plug that. You don't need my help hiring, but I know it's the dope. If I was a coder, bro, you got the new Brooklyn HQ. I'm kicking it with Mike all day. Literally the scheming, like you do so much off the record scheming that people don't even know about. That's legendary. So you're good, dude. You're good.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. We're also, it's funny that you called us Navy SEALs, because like internally we've been talking about our need for like we think we want to build a team internally where it's like the elite Navy SEAL team, like internally, to basically like blah blah, like basically like kind of like be able to go do features almost like without having to have them even designed, right? Where it's like, oh shit, we need to go do this thing. And it's like, oh shit, like that's going to take some time for the designer to design, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's like, nah, like, you could just go have the Navy SEALs go handle that. They don't need to be told, so it's funny that you called it that. So yeah, any Navy SEAL prospects out there, hit me up. And yeah, Gally, I mean, honestly, dog, like, here's the thing, man. I'd love to do this as much as you're willing to have me. Like, we could even get like a reoccurring, calendar event going, and do this even like once a week or once every other week or something like that. Maybe get Rainbow Radio going.
Dude, I'm down. And I know that people want to they should comment with like what they want to see more of and like what they
Yeah,
want
like
us to
what kind
deep
of
dive
content?
into for next episodes. Because I feel like if you're watching this long, you got ideas, and we love to just like
Yeah.
use the community kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like each time we do that, like, I think that maybe we should, if we were to do reoccurring things, I think perhaps what we should do is like focus on one topic for the entire segment, right? So it's like, okay, let's talk about layer twos, right? Well, it's like, let's jump into them without the hand wavy bullshit, or like, it's like, let's actually talk about what are the trade offs between these five, blah blah blah, right? And like, um, I don't know, yeah. So I guess like if people do have suggestions for like things to drill in on, let us know.
Awesome.
Because yeah, man.
Yo, well, thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it, bro. I'm hyped to run it back, and I'm glad we got to do this. And I also want to visit Rainbow's new HQ and do a podcast from there, IRL, in the universe, not the metaverse, which will be wild.
When? Come through.
Yeah, I gotta come through. I don't know. I don't have it on the
All right.
calendar yet. I'm
All right.
coming through that.
But yo, let's do this again. We'll get a calendar.
Yeah.
We'll get a reoccurring calendar thing.
Love it,
Yeah.
bro. Let's do
All
it.
right, let's do it.
This is the
Gally,
year 2022
hyperchange.
metaverse.
20.
All right, everybody
Let's
go
get
check
it.
out Rainbow. If you don't have Rainbow yet, you're sleeping. Go download it. We'll put the link.
We're all gonna make it.
We're all gonna make it.
We're all gonna make
Wag
it.
me. Are you not supposed to say it? Was that? Am I a total?
Nah, you're not supposed to say that. Yeah, you're supposed to say we're all gonna make it.
We're
Yeah,
all
yeah.
oh,
I don't
shit.
say.
I'm
I
gonna have
don't
to
say
cut that.
wag me,
Bro,
dude.
oh my,
No,
did I just
no,
get
no,
cut
it's good.
from being a Rainbow investor?
Nah. You're good. You're
Dog.
good. We all make mistakes.
Oh my
dude.
God.
It's
That's
okay.
how I know I'm
It's
in the right
okay.
industry, bro. Because I'm like be the
Yeah.
dumbest person in the room. I think the new thing is be the most cringe person in the room. That means you're in the right room because you're gonna be catching up, bro.
Yes.
I'm the most cringe person in
Yes.
crypto because I don't.
I like it.
But that's
I'm
where I want to
hyped that
be,
you're
bro.
here.
I'm learning. You know.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, man. Yo, let's
Peace out,
chat
homie.
soon. We'll do it in a week or two.
Yep. All right. Have a great Sunday, dude. Thanks again.
Peace, gang.